I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber! Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man.
Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, podcast from iTunes, Spotify, Radio, etc. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Going to be previewing and breaking down Terrence Crawford versus the Mean Machine, as the posters are saying, and as top-ranking ESPN are just giving up on pronouncing or spelling Kavaliauskas' name. I don't blame him. I understand. Plus, we have Virgil Ortiz. I know Gary's favorite fighter out there fighting this Friday in a complete showcase tune-up that it looks bad. A lot to get to. Plus, numbers out for both AJ Ruiz, the rematch, both in DAZN numbers, Mexican TV numbers, which are impressive as well. Plus, Jamal Charlo, Dennis Hogan viewership is out, which not so impressive. And I'm really shocked by those numbers, which we're probably going to debate and talk and sort of figure out what was wrong with this. Why did this fail more so than any other Showtime card this year, it seems. But a lot to get to on today's show. So without further ado, let me get to my star-studded panel, the illustrious Robbie Hearns, second cousin, twice removed of Sir Eddie, fighting out of North London. I don't know if, like, specifically where you live. I just want to keep it generic, North London. Rob, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, apparently it's fight week for a fight that no one knew about. Or I thought it was Teofimo Lopez Come this week.
Well, if you're just casual and you're just looking at posters, you think Crawford's fighting a robot, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I don't. Anyway, yeah, that obviously design numbers. We'll get into that because I think some think it's shit numbers, some think it's good numbers. We'll get into that, or people just aren't sure is that good or not, you know. So yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, hit the thumbs up, share the show, all that good stuff. Apparently, people have got free YouTube credits if you want a super chat. I don't know. It's up to you. If you're I think it's if you're a
premium member.
YouTube membership.
Yes.
So.
YouTube. If you have a YouTube premium membership, which I do, you have a free $2 to give out on the super chats of any channel and creator that you support. Obviously, if you listen to the show a lot, give us that $2. It's nice. It goes towards paying for equipment. It goes towards travel fees to get us to fights. Once Gary starts letting us know when he's going to events, we can get him credentialed. Instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to go to Charlo Hogan tomorrow. Bye, guys. Then I can help sort of pay for some of that travel with Gary and pay for some of those equipment for Gary, and he can start getting interviews. I mean, would be lovely, guys. Super chat right there. But anyways, digressing. Let's go out to Gary in Dallas. Gary, how are you, man?
I'm good. Another weekend and another world champion Texan takes the stage. I was listening to an interview. I forget what it was on. But they asked Virgil Ortiz, and he was unaware that he was fighting. That was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
What?
Yeah, he was like, is that official? Like, I think he kind of had a date, but it was never really official because it wasn't on BoxRec until recently. It wasn't on ESPN until recently. Yeah. It's a tune-up fight, right? So I don't think, he's going to struggle or anything like that. He's not fighting anyone of note. But, yeah, he was he wasn't shocked, but he was unaware that it was official and the exact date and location. Like it was all news to him.
Shout out to Oscar De La Hoya, the greatest promoter in the game right now, obviously, right, guys? But let's get to the marquee fight of the weekend, which seems weird because, like Rob said, for us hardcores, Teofimo Lopez, Richard Commey is the fight of the weekend. It is. But the main event is Terrence Crawford fighting his mandatory Janis Kavaliauskas, I think from Lithuania, I want to say. The undefeated fighter who has a draw with Ray Robinson, not that Ray Robinson, obviously. And, I mean, this seems to me like one of the easiest fights in Terrence Crawford's career at this point. Like, you go back to his 140 run, his run at 135 even. This seems like one of the easiest matchups that he's had to this point. I don't see how he doesn't get Kavaliauskas out of here within 4 rounds, to be honest. Especially if Crawford's in a mood, which he seems to be during fight week right now, of kind of having a chip on his shoulder, being upset with the media, being upset with fans, being upset with his current situation in the welterweight division. And hopefully he takes out that rage on Kavaliauskas so we don't have a prolonged fight here, because Crawford doesn't need to be on his bike, doesn't need to really box with Kavaliauskas. He can run through him, in my opinion. So I expect a quick performance here from Terrence Crawford. Guys, thoughts on the ESPN main event? Rob, Gary.
Okay. I mean, he did fight John Molina. Let's keep that in perspective. But no, should be an easy fight.
This is worse. This is worse.
Because at least John Molina had the power. If he caught lightning in a bottle, he could knock anybody out. But, that wasn't going to happen. Yeah. I mean, there's no path to victory for the Mean Machine. I mean, there's no way he can win, barring Roy Jones Jr. hits him when he's down, disqualification win. So again, we'd call it a tune-up fight, but it was a mandatory that, Bob Arum got called because they had no other options. It's for the best fighter in the world to be fighting in a couple of days and there to be no hype around it. It kind of tells you what kind of fight it is. I mean,
yeah,
it'll still probably do decent numbers. That combined with the Commey Lopez fight, which I can't wait for us to give our predictions on. Commey Lopez honestly should be the featured, should be the headline fight, because Crawford versus Kavaliauskas is. We're just gonna find out how tough Kavaliauskas is. Will he last 2 rounds? Will he go 6 or 7? I mean, how tough is he? I guess we'll find that out.
Just go with Mean Machine, Gary, please. Kavaliauskas. Kavaliauskas.
Rob, your prediction for the main event? Crawford, Mean Machine.
Well, just Terrence Crawford whenever he wants to finish it, basically. In my opinion, he's a 12-1 favorite. Kavaliauskas is about a plus 650 for people in the UK. It's 13-2. So, yeah, the bookies don't tend to get it wrong too often. I know they have in major ways this year. It's been a bit of the year of the upset, but this would be right up there with.
This is the biggest upset if it were to happen. It won't happen.
This is bigger than if Ruiz beat Joshua.
Because Ruiz fought for a championship at one point, had a deep amateur career, had only lost 1 fight to Joseph Parker, which is a champion, a former champion now.
Which he arguably won, and Ruiz was probably a top 10 to 12 heavyweight at that time. Kavaliauskas isn't anyone's top 10 or 12 at 147. He's not anyone's top 20.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that I think are like straight prospects that should beat Kavaliauskas. Hell, even put like Ray Robinson back in a rematch. I think Ray Robinson beats him. But back to you, Rob.
No, just pure numbers. Betting odds. He's half the price that Ruiz was. But anyway, yeah, it'd still be a major shock if he was to pull it off somehow. But this is a Crawford easy, like you say, sort of manufactured mandatory. I mean, he would have been called at whatever point, but
they
sort of rushed it. Can we just make this as the mandatory and whatever? And yes, so at least that's out of the way, I guess. But yeah, I believe there's if people want to go and attend, you don't need to hurry because there's, I think, quite a lot of tickets left.
Plenty of seats.
So yeah, I mean, a shame because they're like we'd saying the co-main would be a main event on any other day for Comey and Lopez for the IBF lightweight title. But yeah,
there's no way. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Rob. But there's no way you put those guys above Crawford. Like, Crawford's just a bigger star than all those guys combined.
That would be the final straw if they said, "Yeah, we got you a fight date, Terrence. You're on the undercard of Lomachenko. Lopez and Comey." That would be it. Game over.
Both would automatically mean that Crawford's looking for his exit plan from Top Rank immediately.
If he isn't already.
And plus, just from a pure business sense, like, Comey and Lopez are completely unproven TV numbers and draws, while Crawford's a proven TV draw. His last fight with Benavidez did really good numbers. I want to say that the average was, like, again, off the top of my head, like 2.1, 2.4 million, with a peak of like over 3 million, I want to say, which was huge for ESPN. So even with a bad opponent with no hype, the tickets aren't selling in New York, Crawford is still your hope to have some sort of a good viewership for your network. When ESPN has been struggling for viewership this year, I think they only have like 1 or 2 events in the top 20 in terms of viewership this year, and that's not that impressive, to be honest, for ESPN. But unless, Gary, I saw you had something to say about that?
Well, Lomachenko versus
Campbell
was on in the middle of the afternoon. That hurts.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And then, then have your other two big names, Crawford and Fury, fight better guys. Then maybe you'll get a better rating.
Well, it's not that. They were fighting on TV.
They're fighting. Wait, this is on the Plus again?
No. But in terms of their last fights this year, they weren't on TV. So, like, ESPN, like, Crawford Khan, pay-per-view. That's not TV.
Yeah, that one was. But
all Fury's fights have been ESPN Plus, so you don't get a TV rating off of that. They've never experimented with that, which is weird. He's your big heavyweight. You've never put him on ESPN.
That's a ridiculous model. Yeah, that's the guy you'd want to put on regular ESPN and get a big number.
So wait, 300 million ESPN Plus subscribers?
3.5 million, not 300 million.
Oh, it's just Tyson signed with them because he's going to be in 300 million homes across the US, right?
Oh, I didn't connect what you're doing there, Rob. That's a good one.
Close to that many homes. I think there's only like 110 million or something. But Matt, the second fight, the Valine fight, was that was on the app too?
Yes, it was.
That is horrible. That is so.
Very quick. Do you think Benavidez, Kavaliauskas, how would that go?
Oh, in terms of like who would win? Benavidez.
Benavidez is pretty
like easily.
Yeah. I think Benavidez would beat like the Ray Robinsons of the world. I think Benavidez could beat like a Josh Kelly of the world. Benavidez would lose to like maybe a Jamal James, the Ugas, the Lipinets, like that little range. But then again, all those guys, Benavidez, Ugas, Lipinets, Jamal James, they're all around the same level of the division in my mind. They're that back half of the top 10, that top 15 range of the division.
Ugas is better than those guys, but the other name, Benavidez, Jamal James, and then Lipinets. Those guys could kind of all beat each other. They're all, but Ugas is better than those guys.
I mean, Thomas Delorme put some hands on him, but digressing from that.
Delorme's in that group too. Delorme's good.
Put Jesse Vargas in that group too. I would put Jesse Vargas in that group where like Vargas, Benavidez, who would win that fight?
Lipinets, Vargas. Who you got?
Oh, Lipinets. Hands down.
Salty Lipinets. on his anti-DAZN shit right now.
Dude, Lipinets is just pure salt all the time on social media, which is hilarious because you don't expect, someone that doesn't speak English to be on social media as much as he is and to be as petty and salty as he is. Lipinets is a good follow, by the way, guys. But digressing from that point, who was it? I think it was Dwayne. Dwayne with a super chat, which is a good question I think we should ask. We're sort of looking forward. He's saying, think Crawford should leave Uncle Bob for Uncle Al. But moving forward, and thank you for the super chat, Dwayne. Always a long-time listener and supporter. Appreciate it. What should Crawford do next? Should he look to make that Sean Porter fight that they've been kind of talking about this fight week, it seems? It seemed like the Danny fight's the fight that Crawford wants, but Danny doesn't really want, to be honest. And plus, Danny's looking for a Manny Pacquiao Earl Spence fight, which is, in his mind, more money, and I can see why he thinks that. So what, like, if you're playing matchmaker, if you can control boxing right now with a realistic options and outcomes and what can happen, what do you do? How do you pick Crawford's next 12 months, his next fight? Gary,
Well,
Rob.
If I control boxing, it's Errol Spence.
Yeah, but let's be realistic about this for 1 second. Yeah. Let's say you work within Top Rank. Like, what do you do? How do you, if you're a Top Rank's matchmaker, what do you tell Bob? How do you approach Crawford? What do you try to angle for the fight?
If I'm Bob, I go to Al and I say, but let's make a deal. Give me Keith, give me Sean, give me Danny. I don't care. Pick one. Give me one of those three guys, which would likely be Sean. Because Keith, I don't know if he's coming back, and Danny doesn't want the fight. So it would likely be Porter. We'll do that over on ESPN, pay-per-view. And then I'll give you a 60-40 split on your network for the Spence Crawford fight. Done? Good deal. Or if Pacquiao, whoever you'd rather have. Done. Okay, good? Good. We're done. Like that's how I would do it. I don't know how you say no to that because, I mean, the Crawford fight on ESPN would do well. And that'd be a good check for Al.
For Porter, right?
For Porter. Yeah. Porter would do a good number.
Offsets costs for Fox and Showtime. It allows you to collect another 10 million in terms of network budget to another fight, another event. It would be smart in a way. And then on vice versa, you get Crawford Spence on your network in a way, if that were to be the case.
You got to be smart enough to know that you're not getting a 50-50 split in that fight. Like you just have to know that.
Not anymore. Like there was a day and age where you can make that argument,
but not there. I mean, look at the pay-per-view numbers that Spence has done compared to he's done 350 and 375.
Yeah.
Crawford did 200.
Yeah.
Did it even hit 200?
No. I mean, there's a report. I've seen 200 out there, but I've seen more 150 and 175.
I heard like 175, 180, but then yeah.
But
so
it's
I can call it 200.
Gary's adding on the other one as well.
The post. Just add that bit to it. Yes.
50 plus 50.
Or just ticket sales. I know like Spence isn't like a massive ticket draw, but I mean his gate for the Staples event was like over 2 million. I want to say, in terms of gate revenue for the Porter fight, that's a decent, healthy gate. It's not Canelo numbers. It's not Pacquiao numbers. It's not Wilder numbers. But that's a healthy fucking gate. That's over double what Tyson Fury is getting. ESPN's $100 million heavyweight. Crawford's a guy that's not really drawing in terms of revenue at the gate, especially in big markets. He can draw a good attendance in Omaha, as we know, but similar to like Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez has never sold above or never had a gate revenue above, I think, $200,000 in Fresno, even though he sold 15,000 tickets. But he's never made over $200,000 in gate revenue. Wow. I want to say that's true.
Giving those tickets away for like $10.
Well, it's Fresno, man. It's not a big market. Same with Omaha, Nebraska. Like you can't make money
like San Francisco and Oakland in that market.
4 hours, let's say.
Oh, forget that. Yeah, okay. You're not driving from San Francisco to Fresno to watch the fight.
Short end, maybe 2.5 hours if you're fucking booking it, no traffic.
100 miles an hour.
Yeah, no. From LA, you're looking at 2 hours, 3 hours. No, that's more. Probably closer to 3 or 4, to be honest. Sometimes 6.
Baseball tournament in Fresno when I was a teenager. I remember oil fields, right? They have oil in Fresno.
Yeah, I have family in Fresno and Bakersfield and that like whole Central Valley area. But like it's not a financially lucrative market because it's not a bunch of rich people in Fresno. It's a bunch of Central Valley workers, basically. That's the families that live there. Some in Omaha, Nebraska, it's a small market in terms of economic potential. New York, LA, these are big markets that you can make a lot of money in. Crawford has really struggled in those markets. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's been ESPN. I don't know if it's been Top Rank. But digressing from that point, I agree with you a lot, Gary. Rob, if you're playing matchmaker, if you're Bob Arum, if you're someone in control of Crawford's career, what do you do next?
By the sounds of it, bringing up some 140s, but no, that's what he's saying. Prograis, he mentioned Ramirez, he's mentioned Josh Taylor, all 140 guys, and I can see why. I mean, Matt, I sent a link earlier saying what Joshua has said to Wilder, and you were like, don't bring up all Joshua Wilder stuff. I ain't interested. It ain't happening. So I don't want to talk about any Crawford with PBC fighters right now because they ain't happening either. I don't know. Maybe the Porter fight, maybe that can get done. But just because Bob seems to think it will sell well, does it even happen? I don't know. It's Bud's just got to get out of his contract. Pure and simple for me. I don't know where his career is. I saw a link somewhere. Did Crawford say he's moved to 160? Did I see that somewhere?
Yeah. Homie Kendrick from Slipping the Podcast, he interviewed him. I didn't check out the interview. I just saw the headline. Obviously, homie, so I retweeted. But I need to check out if he said that because I don't know why he's saying that.
Nah. What, he's going to fight at 160 and bring up a 135?
It's one of those things where,
go fight Rob Brandt.
In a part of his head, but it's not actually. It's not actually going to happen. Like, who's he going to fight? You going to fight Canelo? You going to fight Triple G?
And let's be honest, the economics of
Murata.
let's be honest, the economics of PBC fights are far easier than a DAZN fight, right? Like it's for the same reason we've always heard why it's easier to make Wilder Fury 2 than a Wilder AJ fight because DAZN and Fox economics are just completely different. The structural, the way they're structured is completely different. I can't imagine Bob making a Terrence Crawford DAZN fight with Canelo. I just can't imagine that. Like maybe he does, but like I don't think that he ever does that. I just don't think those networks like to play ball with DAZN in any way, which is a shame. That they haven't figured out a way to find a co-network deal with a streaming app and a TV network. I think honestly Crawford has to, like Rob said, get out of his contract to make those fights at welterweight. Maybe he gets a Sean Porter fight because Sean Porter's, the redheaded stepchild of the welterweight division for Al Heyman. It seems like he fights everyone, man.
We keep saying for him to get out of his contract, and maybe he can, but maybe he doesn't want to. I don't know what they offer him. I don't know what the contract is. But what if it's a ton of money? It's like, no, I'm not walking away. Like I have a contract, I can't walk away from that.
But I think
you might be right because he keeps saying, "I don't need them; they need me." So I don't know.
ESPN, Disney, this is a bold statement. They have Mickey Mouse. I don't know that they need Terrence Crawford.
They don't.
Yeah, that's a bold statement.
Look, let's be honest here, guys. Terrence Crawford, while a significantly talented and skilled fighter, isn't the draw that a lot of other guys in his division are. Just point blank and simple. Even guys like Danny Garcia, he's just not the draw that some of these guys are.
He doesn't have the mouthpiece. He's not from a big city. He doesn't have a natural market like a Puerto Rican fighter would or something like that.
But let me finish. Here's the thing. He may have a great deal with ESPN because he probably does. He's making good money on the back end and up front that we know of. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, that he's making money that's comparable with a lot of the PBC guys. However, I think you can get that deal, if not better, from PBC, from anyone. Right? Like Crawford's that level of talent, and in today's market, which is still a market that he could really sort of shop himself to and find a lot of above market value in terms of deals. I don't know why that wouldn't be something in his mind. He's seen everyone else make bank comparative to what they're worth, and for a guy that we talked about not being as much of a draw as other guys in the division, he can make so much more than he's already making, which is probably already above market value because of the current market. So if he's smart, he does get out as fast as possible and shop himself to DAZN, Matchroom, back to Top Rank, to re-sign, to PBC, anyone and everyone. Because why not? It's the market you're in. Jesse Vargas got the current deal he got because of the market he's in. Terrence Crawford in a way re-signed with Top Rank, I want to say, 2 years ago? In 2017?
It was right after, after the Horn fight, right?
Yeah, that was right before we saw the significant paradigm shift of DAZN. It was right before that. So he caught the tail end of the ESPN comeback into the sport, but he missed the market that included Fox, included Showtime that re-upped their deal by double with PBC in terms of monetary value. He missed out on the DAZN money. There's a lot of money that he missed out on because he just he didn't catch the wave. He was right before it. And I don't know when he's going to be up on his contract. I think I want to say I heard a rumor of 2022, 2023, I want to say. But
Wait a minute. Now it is mid 30s. He's 32 now.
I think so. Add another 3 years when he's 35, 36. I think that's probably when he's going to be a free agent, to be honest, unfortunately.
I mean, and he still may have a year or two left. But, I mean, that's why the time to make that Spence fight is now, because it's going to be a good fight. And, if we want to rematch, don't do this when Crawford is old. Let's not make this Pacquiao and Mayweather. Let's do this now while they're both still in their prime. Let's not wait on this and then say, well, Crawford was old, so we don't know what would have happened if they would have fought when he was, let's just do this now.
Quickly, Eddie, because I feel like people don't understand this. Can you make back-end money when there's no back-end revenue? As in, the event doesn't make a ton of revenue? Yes, if it's in your contract, they have to find the money somewhere. That's when, the network pays out of pocket. That's when investors pay out of pocket. That's when you see that stuff, to be honest. So it does happen. That's how it happens. It just means that you're at more of a loss, whether it's in investors or the networks. To be honest, that's how it works. But digressing, let's get to the fight that everyone loves this weekend, the hardcore fight of the weekend. Unless anyone else has any other points about Crawford, what's next for him, Crawford, Kavaliauskas, anything of that sort.
Okay, we said who we want. Who do we think? Who do you think Crawford's fighting next?
I think Prograis or Ramirez are very likely, to be honest.
I agree.
Ramirez has got his mandatory in China, and then the WBO have put out that Jack Catterall is fighting him after that, so that's another mandatory.
But if he vacates and just moves up, it doesn't matter.
Well, I guess so. But
I could see because that fight's in February, right? Against Postal, it's somewhere around. It's early 2020, right?
Yeah, in February. Yeah.
I could see Crawford waiting, and they have that fight, let's say in May, June, July, around that time, and have a Crawford Ramirez fight. And Crawford just set out for the first quarter of 2020 because he's a 2-fight-a-year guy. He could fight in June or July, come back in November, because I think Ramirez, even though I respect Ramirez a lot more now, I don't think Ramirez is going to be as much of a challenge to Crawford as even a guy like Prograis would be or Taylor would be, just because of the style. And Crawford could bounce back and fight, hopefully, a Sean Porter end of 2020. Fingers crossed. But most likely maybe Vesputin if he gets past Ugas. Anything like that. Expect those matchups.
He ain't getting past Ugas.
He can. I mean, Delorme arguably did, let's be honest.
Vesputin? Yeah, he wins.
But Delorme beats Vesputin too.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't say that.
Nah.
You're really hating on that Vesputin-Butia fight. That was a great fight.
Yeah, you're weird.
You know that I think Ugas is in that next level of
no, Ugas for a non-Texan is rarely in this same bracket of Texan love that you have. It's like Virgil Ortiz, the Figueroas, then Ugas, and then Omar Juarez.
No, I've always liked Lara is one of my favorite fighters ever. I don't know what it is. I like Cuban fighters. I even like Gamboa, and he doesn't even fight like a Cuban fighter. But Rigo and Lara, two of my favorite fighters ever.
No, I'm not hating. I'm just saying. I might pick Vesputin in that fight. I don't know about that. I might pick Ugas. I probably would pick Ugas, but I got to think about that one. But digressing from that, let's get to the marquee fight of the weekend for us hardcores. Richard Comey defending his IBF belt against upstart prospect Teofimo Lopez. And truly one of those fights that we could look back on and say, this was the moment where Teofimo turned the corner, became the champion, and his ascendance to the top truly started. Or we're going to look back and say, man, look at that hype train that was Teofimo Lopez and how Richard Comey walked him down and beat him up and, showed that experience and grit and just, combination punching would beat out unnecessary finesse. But this fight is really intriguing to me, obviously, for the stylistic dynamic we have, or the technical dynamic we have here, the disparity we have between these two guys in terms of technique, in terms of style. It's a perfect matchup for boxing. Guys, Gary, I know you've been one that's really hyped on this one that wants to hear all of our picks. So I want to hear your pick first.
First, this reminds me of something. I want to say I was in 9th grade. I think it was 1998. Might have been 97. Somebody asked me when Floyd Mayweather fought Gennaro Hernandez, if Mayweather's going to win. I was like, nah, this is way too big of a challenge. Like, Gennaro Hernandez it wasn't that far off from beating Zuma Nelson. He'd only lost to De La Hoya at 135. Like, he was legitimate.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, no, this is way too early. This is a bad fight for Floyd. Floyd's going to lose. I'm not saying he's not going to be great in the future, but he's not great now, so he's not going to beat Gennaro Hernandez. And then he absolutely destroyed Gennaro Hernandez. I think it's like 5 rounds. Like, just lit him up. So, like, but Floyd ended up being that great. So now I'm kind of thinking like the same thing. Okay, Teofimo Lopez is going to fight Richard Comey. There's no way this early in his career he beats Richard Comey. If he beats Richard Comey, I'm going to be shocked. Like, I think he has moments. I think he hurts him. I think Comey can be hit a lot. But I think eventually Comey breaks him down. I don't think that Teofimo is necessarily winning the fight at any point, but I think there's a lot of action, a lot of even action. Both guys are landing early. And I think just Comey's man strength, although both guys are really big for lightweights.
Yeah, they are.
I think it's his man strength, his experience starts to break him down. And I think he starts to really beat him up 8th or 9th round. I'm going to officially say 9th round stoppage for Comey. But it's going to be all action. And in the first 5-6 rounds, they're going to be trading a lot of big leather. But I think it's just Comey is too skilled right now. And he's too big and strong and too experienced.
I wouldn't use the term skilled per se, but
probably the wrong word. That's why I said big.
Yeah. That last fight from Comey was an eye opener on his lack of a complete skill set. But digressing from that, I'll get to my breakdown in a second. Rob, I want to get yours. Comey Lopez, go.
I'm going to go with the underdog.
Yeah.
Which is Comey.
Is he the underdog, really?
Yeah.
God, man, the bookies love Teofimo Lopez, don't they?
Yeah, he's like, what would it be in the US? It's like a.
Well, what's in the UK? Just say the UK now.
It's like a 2.5 underdog, favorite. Sorry.
Oh, so he's like minus 250.
Yeah, 250. Yeah,
give or take.
And Comey is like a plus 170 or one.
It's not too bad. There's no, the odds
are. It's close enough. Like it's a tight fight, but yeah, I'm going to go with Comey. I think. I just think he's got a lot of experience. Teofimo, while I find him really exciting, I thought he seemed to struggle with is it the Japanese guy? Who's quite
Nakatini.
Yeah, tall, rangy fighter, and Richard Comey is a tall, rangy kind of lightweight, in my opinion. So, and I think he's going to carry a hell of a lot more power than the Japanese guy in Nakatani or whatever. So that might be the difference. And I mean, look, if we'll find out if Lopez has got a chin. If he has, I think he's got a great chance of beating Comey and coming away with it. But I'm going to go with similar to Gary, actually, probably maybe a late stoppage for Comey, but that's maybe I thought the unpopular pick, but then Gary picked it, so yeah. Well, go with Lopez, Matt. You're set for a win here.
We're going to go Comey across the board here. Let's see if I'm right.
I think you're right, Gary. I am of this mindset, okay, that Teofimo Lopez's path to victory is actually very simple, because we saw in the Beltran fight with Richard Comey. If he's going backwards, Comey has zero footwork, no balance, really can't throw off the back foot while he's moving, doesn't really have counters to his name. Like, Comey going backwards is just a shit fighter. Let's just be honest about it. Comey going forward is a completely 180-degree different fighter than when he is going backwards. So if Teofimo Lopez can get him going backwards, can get Comey on the back foot and start slipping shots, start firing off, he could have a lot of success and win this fight in a really easy fashion, to be honest. I just don't know if Lopez is that guy to do that. He's not really a guy that I would define as a pressure fighter. Not saying he doesn't have that in him. I just have never seen that. 2, when we have seen Lopez in with a tough fighter like Nakatini, what was his first sort of gut reaction or muscle memory movement? To get on the back foot and move. So I think instantly he would probably fall into Comey's trap of allowing Comey to be the aggressor. And because of that mindset that I have that I can't seem to get out of. And I know that, again, I laid out why or how Lopez could easily win. I don't see how he could actually do that game plan. I don't see that as being his style. And pressuring a guy like Comey is difficult. Easter couldn't do it. It took a guy like Beltran to do it because Beltran is a tough, durable, gritty Mexican fighter. And I don't think Lopez is that guy. I think Lopez is a finesse fighter. He's a slick boxer. And I think because of that natural style, he's going to want to be on the back foot, want to be moving. And Comey is going to have all of the latitude to be the aggressor, to be the come-forward combination artist. And because that's his wheelhouse, that is his game, he's going to give Lopez a ton of issues in this fight, in my opinion. And that's how I see the fight going. I think it's going to be one-way traffic largely throughout, with Lopez having success in pockets, but Comey getting maybe a late TKO finish, with Lopez really not having a complete game yet. On top of it, having too much of a stagnating training environment, in my opinion, with his father being his head coach. As you know, anyone that's listened to me for any period of time, I do not like fathers as trainers, just as a rule of thumb. I just do not like it. Especially if that's been your trainer your entire life as an amateur, and then when you become a pro, that's still the same trainer you have. You don't grow as a fighter, in my opinion. And we have yet to see Lopez really ever grow from when he sort of burst on the scene. We haven't seen any improvement. We haven't seen any new development in his game. He's been the same fighter. While the same fighter is really talented and really gifted, it's been the same fighter. And you can't be the same fighter against Richard Comey. But guys, any thoughts on this fight? Any more sort of angles you want to tackle this one on?
I want Lopez to win because
yes,
young, exciting guy, got everything you would want as far as personality and exciting and that. But I guess that doesn't give him the right to be the champion if just because Comey isn't maybe that guy. But yeah, I just don't know if it's just a little too soon. And then Bob's talking about March for if Lopez or the winner of this March for Lomachenko. So I don't know. I'd like it to be Lopez because he is exciting. It could draw in that younger crowd and whatever. But I just don't know if it's a little too soon for him just now.
And I think regardless of who wins, though, let's be honest, Lomachenko is going to win. He's going to beat the winner of this fight. That's
I thought I was going to shock y'all with this pick. Wait till we get to that one.
If you pick Richard Comey to beat Lomachenko, Foogatti is going to have a heart attack.
At a certain point, someone's just too big and strong for you. I never really thought Lomachenko was a real lightweight, and Richard Comey is a massively big, strong lightweight with concussive power. But let's get through this one first.
Anyways, the undercard stacked with a lot of the top-ranked prospects. You have, obviously, Michael Conlan avenging, the amateur loss in the Rio Olympics to Vladimir Nikitin in this event. You have George Kambosos Jr., who was, I think, aligned for Lomachenko fight. At least he was rumored for at some point. He's not fighting Mickey Bay on this card. Edgar Berlanga, who is the undefeated super middleweight, who's just signed with Keith Conley, who's a big-time manager in the sport. He's fighting some guy named Cesar Nunez. Julian Rodriguez, one of the Rodriguez brothers, is fighting Manuel Mendez. And Josue Vargas is fighting Noel Murphy. Overall, decent card, to be honest. I really like the Kambosos Jr. Mickey Bay fight, to be honest. Conlan Nikitin is a fine fight. Even though I'm not a big believer on Michael Conlan's abilities and his ceiling, so to speak. But I think that's a fine fight to make. It makes sense, especially having some amateur bad blood there. I'm always in favor of those type of matchups. Guys, any other thoughts on this card?
No, I think Conlan is at his ceiling. I think Conlan is a great amateur boxer. I don't mean that to insult him, but that's what he is. As a pro, he's limited, but as an amateur, his style is great.
anyone in the UK looking to catch this card, I do believe it's available through Fight TV for £14. Oh my God. So that's going to have about as many people buy that as got the Charlo Hogan card on Premier Sports for $12.99 a month or whatever it was.
I think that one got more probably though. You bank alone. 5 more people, it matters. It's more. This one will have 0.
I think 5 got it.
Maybe one poor bastard.
A one-off $12 pay-per-view at 4 a.m.
You can watch
Hogan.
You can watch ice hockey, okay?
Well, there is that, yeah.
Yeah.
I was pissed because the San Jose Sharks and the whoever were taken off there just to put the Charlo Hogan fight on. I was not a happy NHL customer, I'll tell you that.
Nobody cares about hockey. Nobody.
Exactly.
Canadians do. Canadians do, okay?
Ice is stupid. You know what's more stupid than ice? Playing games on ice.
Yeah, true. And Gary, I know you're nearly there, but 40-year-old eyes are trying to keep up watching.
That's why I can watch
worst TV sport in the world.
I can't watch hockey. I don't know where the puck is. I can't follow it. Like, I feel like you got to be one of those 3-card Monty experts to watch hockey. Like, I don't know where the puck is.
Hold on. Is it worse than golf in terms of TV?
Nothing is worse than golf on TV. We played the soccer, hockey, golf. Golf's the worst. Golf is the worst.
Yeah, I mean, golf is because it's longer. Like a hockey game is at least I don't know how long those games are, to be honest. They can't be that long.
Soccer game can't be that long.
I don't know. If it's the Ryder Cup, the Ryder Cup's good to watch.
Anyway,
because it's Europe. Oh yeah, it's America used to be able to win like half the time, but they just lose basically every time now.
Yeah.
When was the last time the U.S. won? It's been a while, probably 10 years.
Maybe. Anyway, going down a
rabbit hole of sports we all hate.
Oh, Gary, you mentioned soccer. You said something soccer, golf.
Oh, of those 3, soccer, golf, hockey, soccer's the best, and golf's the worst. Golf is awful.
Yeah, soccer is.
And my dad was like, like a golf junkie. He used to leave it on like all Sunday afternoon. It's like and it goes like 12 hours.
Golf.
Like, oh man, this is brutal.
Yeah, I had an uncle that was a golf junkie, and like every Thanksgiving, golf was on.
I just
hated that uncle. Fucking asshole. But anyways, guys, let's get to some more boxing. We have another card this weekend, which we're gonna slightly break down, but not really break down. Just gonna be Gary ranting about Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz is fighting Brad Solomon. Hold on. On Friday night on, I want to say it's DAZN. But this could be one of the Facebook cards.
Oh, true. Yeah. No, I think it is DAZN. I think
because it doesn't say here, but I'll check again on another site what it is, as Gary is ranting and professing his love to Virgil Ortiz. But this fight is a complete tune-up and showcase, and I don't want to see this fight at all. To be honest,
Gary,
this is actually not even a sidestep in opposition. This is a 10-step backwards in terms of opposition, in my opinion. From Ruiz Herrera.
I nearly sent it to the pre-pro chat, but Solomon has promised he's going to take Ortiz to places he has never been before.
That sounds dirty. Gary?
When
again, I think it's Virgil Ortiz, but I'm not that into it because it's Brad Solomon. Like, it is what it is. I mean, they wanted to get him another fight before the year was over. So this is what they got. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many names they had to go down. They took the fight on relatively short notice from what I understand. I think the fight wasn't finalized until late November. I mean, again, I'm going to watch it, obviously, because it's my boy. But this fight doesn't really move the needle for me.
Such a bad fight.
It's not great.
No.
It's not great.
I mean, I think we talked about this when it was announced, Gary, or maybe we were offline talking about this. On the show, but like Brad Solomon's like inactivity. I'm trying to go back to it right now. He fought a bunch in 2014, fought 3 times in 2014, fought twice in 2015, fought once in 2016, fought once in 2017, fought once in 2018, and now he's fighting once in 2019. Like, I don't want to see a guy that's, not dedicated to the sport and not trying at all. Like, I don't care to see that. Even though Solomon at one point was like a red hot prospect in a way, I don't care to see a guy that doesn't care about the sport, that doesn't get knockouts, all of a sudden fighting one of the better prospects of the welterweight division when he should be fighting the Limpinets, the Ugas, the Jesse Vargases of the world. I don't understand how those matchups aren't getting made instead of these.
He said he wants like Thurman and all that. So yeah, when?
Who, Brad Salomon does?
No. Ortiz.
Play the game, Gary. Come on, play the game.
But Jesse Vargas, why doesn't that fight get made?
Yeah, that's a good fight. Make that fight.
That's a main event. You can put that in some small market to sell it with the Mexican demographic completely. I don't understand why you don't make that matchup. It's in-house for DAZN. And it's a legitimately good fight. And
You're paying Vargas all this money. You better make him earn it, right? Make him earn it.
Jesse's earning it against Mikey. What are you talking about?
I don't want to see that. Anyways, sorry, Rob, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's just Gary was miming. I said you're muted, Gary.
Yeah, I said that fight's not happening. He's fighting Pacquiao. This is a negotiating chip.
All right, then Mike is available. Who wins that, Gary?
They wouldn't fight each other.
Why?
Are they in the same camp?
Robert Garcia. I mean, they could. I mean, if the money's right,
Gary.
I mean, I don't see the money being big enough that they would take that fight.
Who wins, Gary?
If I pick Virgil Ortiz, then I have to pick Virgil Ortiz to beat Pacquiao. You know what? I'm going in down with that ship. Ortiz versus the world.
So you've got Mikey beating Pacquiao.
You know what?
Virgil Ortiz beating.
And Virgil beats Pacquiao too.
Here's the thing. I would pick Mikey to beat Virgil Ortiz, obviously. But I mean, that's where we get into the conversation of like Mikey Garcia just being too small for the division. Because Ortiz is a legitimate welterweight prospect in terms of size and power, and Mikey is a lightweight that's fighting at welterweight because it's more money. And that would be an interesting fight. I would say that. I would rather see that fight than Jesse Vargas, Mikey Garcia. I would rather see Mikey versus Virgil Ortiz than any iteration of Jesse Vargas with the top 5 or 7 guys in the division. I don't care.
Whose corner is Robert Garcia in?
His brother, man.
Because if you have me, there's got to be no one that knows Mikey better than Robert. So if you put that in my corner, I'm going to take Virgil.
That pay him off.
What if Mikey's mum was available and she would the brother then go and help Ortiz out? Because surely the mother knows him better than the brother, right?
Ooh, good point. Good points. There's not much on this card. Alexis Rocha, good prospect on this card. Von Alexander, a guy that I know and been watching for a while. He's been fighting like every super middleweight prospect there is, it seems. Fought Anthony Sims. Fought a bunch of guys. God, who else did he fight? Let me go back. Money Powell, the fourth, beat him. That was a good win for him. Fought Dennis Douglin. Fought Janabek Alamikuli. Another prospect. He's that guy that's clearly the barometer stick for all super middleweight prospects. He's not fighting a guy named, sorry, I'm pronouncing this wrong already, Betimir Melikuziev. Actually, I might have got that one right. I might have been right. I don't know this guy, but he's an undefeated prospect. So
he's a hot prospect. He's going to be, yep.
Hot prospect.
That's it's a good fight. Let's see where that kid's at.
Yeah,
I'm Alexander.
I know there's a bunch of Uzbekistan amateurs that are now on the pros, and he's one of those Uzbekistanis. Uzbeks?
I think either one is okay.
Five.
I think Uzbek or Uzbekistani.
But digressing, not a lot on this card in terms of like value here. Guys, any thoughts on the rest of this undercard? No,
Alex Rincon, no Tanahara, no. Well, those guys are all fighting in January in San Antonio, I think.
Yeah. There's not a lot here. to be honest.
What about Trevel Maison? Like, why put him on the card? Like, just fill out the card with prospects I know.
Gary's just saying names that aren't on the card right now.
But I'm saying those are Golden Boys prospects who we know.
Gary's making up names right now. That's the best
Yeah,
part.
who?
Golden Boy doesn't have this many prospects. Let's be honest.
They just signed what's it?
Gary, we believe you. Okay, you have to look it up right now.
They just signed who is it? Hernandez.
Not Nico Hernandez, right? I thought they already had him. Or no, Matchroom has Nico Hernandez. Who am I thinking of?
I don't think Matchroom has him. He was just for Wichita.
No, Mulvane.
Mulvane, yeah.
Mulvane. Wichita is actually a known city.
I'm saying that name, right? Am I saying that wrong?
Who?
Trevel Maison.
I don't know who that is. I don't
know if you're saying it right.
He fought Black Magic, like the Richcraft, like he fought actual Black Magic
by himself.
What a legend!
A world champion, definitely.
Did he go to Hogwarts?
Did he win?
Yo, did Voldemort win or did he win? I need to know now.
Black Magic did the dark side defeat? You know the good.
Oh god, that's the best shit ever.
He beat Black Magic.
I like how Gary said that. Like we should know.
Yeah.
Who Black Magic is? Some pro wrestling name. Yes, Gary.
Okay.
Is he fighting next? Magic Mike?
Send me a link. Put a link in the chat, Gary, of this the guy's box track.
The guy's name.
Can we put?
I can.
Am I saying it right? We're not seeing it.
Can we put links in the chat?
You can put it in this chat.
Oh, our chat. Okay.
Well, don't put it in anyone else's because we probably won't see it.
You can put it either in the StreamYard chat or the whatever it is.
That clickable.
It's not, but I can just copy and paste.
Oh, fuck me.
No, I'm now curious who the fuck you're talking about. We're gonna take time off the show to talk about this.
Yeah, it's not getting late or anything.
No, it's not. No, I have no idea who this guy is.
Rabbit Hole City. Is he saying it right then?
He fought
I think he's saying it right.
The Thursday card they had on the Facebook, and then they
spell the surname.
Rob, I'm gonna put it in the chat for you. Don't worry.
Mazion, and then he fought on the Virgil Ortiz card in Dallas.
I have no idea who this guy is. I mean, I bet I've seen him before.
You have seen him before,
but I don't. Who's Black Magic?
That's his nickname.
Oh, wait, he beat himself?
I said his name. They call him Black Magic.
I swore you said he beat Black Magic.
Yeah, you did. You said he beat Black Magic.
No, they call him.
They call him Black Magic.
No, I swear to God, Gary, go back and listen to the show. You said he beat Black Magic.
Look, we both heard you say that, so
it's now facts.
I mean, we could all play it back. I mean,
are we going to get to the
I know what
DAZN?
I said. I was there when I said it.
Yeah,
We're going to get to tomorrow's DAZN Spain card or what?
No, I didn't have that up. I'm sorry. I apologize.
David Avanesian's fighting. Come on.
I didn't think that was picked up on DAZN. I apologize.
I don't know if it is actually. I know it's DAZN Spain, but I don't know if it's across their territories.
I'll check and see if it was picked up. I apologize.
Does Avanesian fight at 154?
No, 147. Wait, okay. At least he did.
I mean, when guys are old and bad, a lot of times they move up and weight because, why bother cutting weight?
Yes.
I'm going to lose anyway. Might as well be comfortable.
You're right. It is picked up by DAZN. I apologize. Sandor Martin versus Joe Hughes as well. That's about it. I mean, there's not a lot on this card.
No.
Whatever happened to Konstantin Ponomarov?
He lost, didn't he? Didn't he lose in a fight? And
I don't even remember the last time he fought because I thought he beat Solomon.
Yeah,
that was the fight that Solomon was supposed to be his breakthrough, and he lost.
I will check right now. Hold on. Don't worry, Rob. After this, okay, we will go to the DAZN numbers. Okay, I apologize.
He's just ping-ponging names around this.
And I am curious now. He lost to Sergey Voroblev last year and hasn't been seen since. Oh no, sorry. Then fought earlier this year and lost again. That's why I haven't seen him. He lost twice in a row.
Oh, that's enough.
Yeah.
Ooh, could have happened to Joshua.
Deep thought there from Rob. Anyways, moving on. Let's get to the news of yesterday, but it was when everyone was busy on the show and we couldn't get a show together. Apologize, but at least we got the website updated and the podcast feed updated. So make sure to go check out those areas for videos and content. But digressing, let's get to Mike Coppinger's breaking news sources. Ruiz Joshua 2 pulled in around 1.8 million viewers across DAZN's 9 markets, correcting him, it was 8 markets because the fight was on Wow Wow in Japan.
Wow, ow.
Is that how it's pronounced?
Well, I don't know. It's W-O-W-O-W.
I think you double pronounce the W, and it's Wow Wow. But anyways, digressing. And approximately 200,000 new subscribers, with most of those signups coming from the U.S. This is per Mike Coppinger. I'm of the mindset with these numbers that, especially like when it's like what's above 1 million, I don't think it's ever really bad per se because there's 1 million people watching you. But the framing of it's 1.8 million in multiple markets, I don't know how to properly contextualize that because we never hear that in other events. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to get a gauge on if that is comparable.
Canelo, didn't we? Got it with Canelo. It was like 1.6 globally and 600 were.
No, we're getting it with DAZN cards, of course, because they have more of a global brand. I think that's why they've been using global numbers, and I understand why they do that. But obviously, we don't get the same with Showtime cards, Fox cards, or ESPN cards. So for me, it's hard to gauge in proper context what all these mean. Because let's be honest, we're using different metrics for everything.
Yeah,
pay-per-view.
I mean, you say Showtime, but that's like one market, right? So we can't sort of get a gauge because they can just go, it's one market, there's the numbers.
Because I saw someone like reply to me because I put out a tweet like saying like, is this good or bad to you guys? I was curious what people's opinions were because I don't know. I feel like I don't have enough information to make a valid opinion about that at times. But somebody said like it's 1.8 million people watching. That's a lot of people watching. And I was like, well, that's 1.8 million people watching in multiple markets, but we've also had cards in the U.S. that have hit 2 million plus, and that's just one market. So, like, is this a bigger success than that? I don't know. And also, I mean, we don't know the UK pay-per-view. Does that mean more than this global number? Let's be honest, because probably more people watch in the UK than globally on DAZN through pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Like, is this truly a great number that DAZN can look at and be like, yes, we're happy with it? I don't know. I don't know if this is deemed success. It's better than the Canelo Jacobs numbers, which was 1.2 million worldwide, as Rob said, and 600,000 in the U.S. were 600,000 viewers were in the U.S. But again, guys, thoughts. I mean, I'm gonna bounce off you guys and your gentlemen. Do you think this is a good number? Is DAZN happy here? Should they be happy? Do you think it's a good number? Do you think DAZN's on the right path with these numbers? Thoughts, Rob, Gary.
I think it's a decent number. Look, Canelo did the 1.6. Obviously, since that fight with Jacobs, we've had
1.2.
Oh, was it 1. Oh, sorry, I'm getting the
600,000
UK pay-per-view numbers as well muddled in. But yeah, like the 1.2 with, was it 600 US?
Yes.
What
half of the viewership was from the US, which I thought was a good thing. You
know? Yeah. So Joshua, if reports are true, has done 1.8. Obviously, there's growth in all those markets since when would that have been? May. Yeah. So there's obviously more subscribers have come along across those markets. So it's hard to know if, oh, look, Joshua, I guess, it's a big rematch. It's like you say, it's hard to gauge because we're not getting sort of actual numbers from each market, and Japan not being one of them, I think maybe lends to it being a good number. Good.
No, it did.
Because I think they're one of their bigger markets, right? Japan.
It definitely, in my personal opinion, it made me go from like, oh, this is kind of an iffy number because it's supposed to be the biggest fight of the year, right? But since Japan wasn't involved in terms of these numbers, it means it's less market. So that means probably more viewership in the U.S. than previously thought. So overall, it's decent. It's definitely better than what he was getting on Showtime in terms of
apparently of the 200, most were from the US, the subs.
The new signups.
So I think if this number is kind of leaked or come out, I think that's a sign that maybe DAZN are happy with it. I know Joe Markowski said we were very happy with how it went. It done better than we expected because it was at obviously the time of day it was happening in the US, up against the college football game at the time, or very close to like it crossing over. So I think it's a good number. Like I say, I mean, I know you put so, but I'm just saying the fight was broadcast in like 90 countries, and I don't know the viewerships of all these countries, how many people are in those countries or whatever. But the 8 markets of DAZN, I thought Germany would be very interested in the fight, having it done so well with Klitschko and Joshua. Got a lot of. Sorry, go on.
Well, because I said so, I just want to give context to why I said that. Similar issue to like global numbers. Like I don't know what the global reach of like Wilder Ortiz. How many countries was that in? I don't know. So it's hard. It's just hard to get a gauge of is that really impressive comparative to the norm. It's a big number, but I don't hear what these other fights are doing globally. But digressing back to you. Sorry.
Like I say, I thought I maybe thought the numbers might be a little more, but I don't know how much. See, it's difficult with DAZN, especially because DAZN in Italy is centered around. They've got the Serie A football rights. They're going to be a lot like soccer fans. I don't know that boxing is a major market for Italy, just like Spain, just Germany. I would think is a big boxing market, but I don't know if like RTL get a lot of or in the past have shown a lot, and are people buying DAZN in Germany for boxing? So it's a real hard number to kind of try and break down, because again, Germany soccer would be in high demand. I think they've got I think they even had World Cup rights, DAZN in Germany. I think they got the soccer World Cup rights at the time when they so it's hard, but for me, I feel it's a good number. It's an increase on the Canelo numbers. If all's true that Mike's saying, so I think if Mike's got a source, it was maybe, don't tell anyone, Mike, but it kind of did this, knowing that Mike would probably say sources and put out the information. So I know Eddie Hearn kind of said Mike's really good because you can go to him if you want something to get out, you can say it. He said, although he is good if you say don't say this. But he said, but he's always got that kind of like sources, and then it's like, I'm just hearing and putting it out there. So I don't know. I think it might have leaked to Mike on purpose.
It 100% leaked to Mike Coppinger on purpose, and I have an issue with Mike Coppinger in terms of a reporter, which we'll get to in a second. But I think he is far too friendly with those in power. Just a digressing point in that. But Gary, thoughts on the numbers and the viewership worldwide for DAZN?
Again, I'd like to see how it breaks down, like what it did in America, but just the number that off the top of the head, it sounds like a really good number. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know what DAZN is expecting, but to me, that's a success. That's a win. I don't know if DAZN thinks that's great or they think it's a failure. I don't know what number. It's like movie openings. Oh, that movie opened up at 50 million. That's great. No, we were expecting 100. It's like, oh, I mean, I don't know what they realistically expected, but to me, that number sounds really good.
Well, with the movie, it's easy. Gary, I know maybe you don't. I mean, it's really easy for a movie. Usually, the box office intake for a movie drops by at least 50% for the second weekend. So that's the calculation they're doing. That each weekend you sort of descend by 50% in terms of revenue, and it peters out towards the end. So if you're not making your budget back times 2, you're not making profit. Because your budget doesn't include your marketing budget for movies. So similar to, connected back to DAZN and boxing, if we knew the budget of this event, if we knew the budget of the production worldwide for this event for DAZN, and then on top of that, if we knew the intake and revenue that 1.8 million viewers represents for its advertisers, for etc., what that 200,000 subscribers worldwide means in actual revenue, because each market has a different price point. Unless we know that number, it's hard to tell whether or not it's a success or not. It just is. And that goes for all boxing events in a way. Like, it's hard to tell if we do not know the exact intake and outtake of money, whether or not it's making profit. But movies, we do. We do actually have a good idea.
I didn't know that. Now I've learned something. You see, there's a kid from Hollywood on the panel.
Yeah, it does help.
Okay. But yeah, to me, that number sounds good. I mean, but DAZN's got a lot of bills, right? They spend a lot of money. So in their perspective, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it to me, that's a win.
Matthew D'Souza saying, do we expect DAZN customers to cancel and then resubscribe pre-Canelo fight.
That's the churn rate. That's the whole issue that streaming services have to deal with, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, Deontay Lewis Ortiz 2 was broadcast in 17 countries.
Thank you for that.
To gauge.
No, thank you for that. I was actually curious. Because 90 did seem high, but I was like...
Yeah, I didn't have a clue, actually. And when you said it, I was like, oh, yeah, I wonder. But, yeah.
I assume, like, the biggies, like, Mayweather fights are telecast across the world in every country.
Wilder Ortiz did United States, Australia, Austria, Germany, Spain, Switzerland, France, Indonesia, Timor. I've never even heard of that place. Ireland, United Kingdom, Japan, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Poland, Russia, Turkey. And by the way, Austria, Germany, Spain, and Switzerland were all DAZN. It was shown on DAZN.
Yes. That's why when I did that DAZN survey, which is not market specific, $1 billion company doesn't make market specific surveys. They said, what content do you like the most on DAZN? And the number one option was PBC. I was like, wait a minute. I'd never get any PBC content on DAZN. What kind of malarkey is this shit? But hey, shout out to DAZN, not making market specific surveys. But anyways, Gary, you were about to make a point.
No, I was just going to ask Rob, can you give us the 90 countries? Can you run down the 90?
No, please don't. We don't have time for that. No, we're good. We're good. But digressing, any other points, guys, on... Oh, let me bring up this point briefly. The Mexico free-to-air TV numbers for Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. Rob, I should have done this, and I was going to, and I forgot. Is there any way you can find the Canelo Kovalev or Canelo Jacobs Mexican TV numbers really fast from Barbosa Box, who is our go-to guy for this? At Barbosa Box, who works with ESPN or ESPN Deportes, saying 6-hour broadcast was on Canal de las Estrellas and did 4.49 million viewers. Azteca TV, Azteca 7 specifically, did 2.95 million. The main event specifically, the peak, I'm assuming the 6-hour broadcast is the average. The main event, the peak, Canal de las Estrellas did 7.12 million, and Azteca 7 did 5.37 million. And he's saying that you can't compare the reach between Canal 2 and Azteca 7. I have no context for that. I just know, hey, millions of people watch this in Mexico, and not really surprised. I want to say from my memory, before Rob pulls up these numbers, that this is around a half of what Canelo Kovalev did, which may seem bad, but I think that's a good thing. That makes sense. I mean, Andy Ruiz shouldn't be as big of a star as Canelo in terms of Mexican TV numbers. It would be really shocking if they hit these numbers, both the fight not being in prime time in Mexico and Andy being relatively a newer star for the sport in a way, because he all of a sudden burst on the scene, not really, but burst on the scene for the casuals just 6 months ago, 9 months ago.
Would they all have watched Canelo had he missed weight by 15 pounds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I can't find the numbers right now, but I think it was like 10 or 11 million.
I want to say this around half. I am curious though, if if this fight was in Vegas or New York, what the Mexican TV viewership would have been, because I think it would have been significantly better. Like, imagine another 20, 30, 40% of viewers. I would not be surprised by that if they had reached that.
Yeah, it would have been, had it been, if they'd have got their way, DAZN got their way and it was in the States, yes. I think it would have done a much bigger number for sure.
Absolutely.
Probably more subscribers as well, I think.
Yes, absolutely. But they wanted to offset costs in a way on Saudi Arabia. I understand that. Hey, if you're going to offset costs, at least put it on, murderers and warlords. Make them pay for the shit.
Was it Nash said he thinks the DAZN number would have been about 2 million for the fight or something? Still, like broadcast rights, 2 million. I'm pretty sure he said that.
I wouldn't.
I thought Joe Marcosi said like 6 figures.
Here's the thing: we know the U.S. subscriber number is around 800,000, give or take. Right? Let's imagine that 200,000 that subscribed. Most of that was from the U.S. Right, from Matt Crawford. So let's say 150,000. Another 150,000. So you have near 1 million subscribers in the U.S. for DAZN. I would assume a large percentage of them watched the event, and that's just a cap out number. You know what I mean? I don't know if they would have received another double amount of subscribers if it was in the U.S. Maybe they could have. But there is a cap on how many viewers they could have in the U.S. because of their reach and their subscriber amount right now in the U.S. So I think John might have a point about why it wouldn't have done a significantly better viewership if it was in the U.S. because it would have meant that you, regardless of it being the U.S., you have to get a lot more subscribers to get a higher viewership because you have a low ceiling, so to speak, because you have only 800,000 subscribers in the U.S. But digressing from that point, any other thoughts, guys, on AJ, Andy Ruiz in terms of numbers and viewership?
No, I'd like I say, with the 90 country, I'd love to find out what the global broadcast numbers were. That would be, I'm sure. Like I say, Japan, I think that would have meant it was 6 a.m. in the morning, and obviously different time zones. But yeah, I'd be really curious to know what a certain fights did globally, just to get some kind of gauge and a breakdown of that. But we'll never get that anyway. So
no. And plus, it'd be harder because, for example, Wilder, Ortiz too. You would have to get DAZN numbers, you have to get Fox numbers. You have to get so many different networks statistics, so to speak. That would be so hard to sort of actually be an investigative journalist and hunt down all those numbers. It would take a while to do that.
Well, I have a guy who's a guy that does actually really sniff out numbers, and he said as far as the Japanese one, the Wow or whatever. They're like a subscription service as well. It's
they're like HBO, Showtime, something like that.
Yeah. So he said not really difficult to try and get those. So then I said, well, there are 89 other countries if you're interested in trying. And he said, yeah, I suppose you're right, I could, but I'm just lazy. So I was like, fair enough.
I don't blame him. You know how hard it is to find your own TV stats within your own country, let alone other countries, right?
You try and use that BARB, British Audience Research Board or whatever it is. You try and use their website. Fuck.
You know what? I went on it the other day. Not as bad as you claim.
Nah, some of it,
you go on ESPN Plus. Try navigating that bullshit.
No, surely you can just type it in and it comes up. Oh, it's not.
Digressing. Let's get to
it should be.
Let's get to a topic that I know two of us on this panel are gonna love to just make fun of in a way, or at least, make fun of it, make light of it. One of us on this panel is gonna be really deeply sad that this happened. Jamal Charlo.
Topic is
Jamal Charlo. His telecast numbers were really poor. And to the point of Mike Coppinger, his framing on issues and topics and news is just really blatant at times. I never want to see someone say the Showtime telecast of any fight, he's saying Jamal Charlo, Dennis Hogan, of Saturday generated a peak average. That's not a thing. Cop.
No.
A peak average is not, you have a peak and you have an average. Now you can have a peak or average for a main event or for the whole card. That's how you can do it. But there's no such thing as a peak average. So I'm assuming this is just the straight up peak of 249,000 viewers, not the average. I don't know what the average is. This is just the peak. And the telecast opened with 75,000 viewers and climbed to that number for the main event. And similar to the framing I was talking about, that's the framing. Don't tell us what the number was at the very beginning and it got all the way up to 249,000 viewers when guess what? That number is still very bad. You're telling us the number started at a very basement level number and then rose to still the basement. That doesn't mean anything, Mike. Sorry. And again, peak average, come on, man. You're better than this, Mike. Don't do this lazy reporting to suck up to power. I know what this is. I've been in the game long enough. But guys, thoughts on Jamal Charlo, Dennis Hogan completely failing in terms of TV viewership?
Well, I don't know why this would do that badly. I know it's not a great fight, but neither is Charlo versus Korobov, which was Fox's best number.
Yep.
So why would that? I know Fox has way more subscribers, but why would that do so good relative to Fox's other broadcasts and this do so bad? Obviously, people may have been boxed out for the day, meaning they watched boxing all day with Joshua and they just weren't interested in watching another fight. Maybe it had a lot to do with it being conference championship Saturday. There was a ton of college football games on, but the LSU Georgia game didn't seem to affect the Joshua number. And then you had Ohio State, Wisconsin was the late game. And then you had like the other games, but those don't really draw a big number. I don't know why it would do that bad. Like 250. If you would have told me it did double that, I would have been like, yeah, that's about right. So this really did about half of what I expected it to do.
No, this did, I mean, shockingly low numbers.
Right, you thought Charlo would, given the opponent.
People give Clarissa Shields a lot of shade. Her numbers are over 100,000 more than this.
Easter Bartholomew did better than this.
Yeah, Rob, that's I was gonna bring that up. Thank you for reminding me. Easter Bartholomew did better than this. How? And like you said, Gary, like this is a bad fight, but God, there's been a lot of shit fights on Showtime, and they've all done better than this. All of Gervonta Davis's fights this year, all of Tank Davis's fights this year are worse than this. All of them. Okay, and this had a good good co-main. Had a good card opener as well. Like this card was good except for the main event, but the main event was still enough in terms of the A side to at least give you something in terms of viewership. This was a complete dud.
A side.
I mean, Des Hogan's not really any side.
I'm just trolling.
I understand.
But Eubank is going to demand to be if they do fight, then Eubank is going to be like, "Are you kidding me? Look what this guy did when he headlined the card."
Charlo tweet on his Instagram said, "You wanted it, Chris Eubank, you've got it." Or something. So it looks like that is happening.
But Gary, you mentioned it. The Charlo Korobov fight was the best viewership that Fox had to this point. It did. Maybe that had in part to play because it was the first Fox event of the deal, but it did the best viewership. How do we get from that to Brandon Adams, which I forget what the viewership was for that, to be honest. Maybe Rob, if you can look that up while me and Gary theorize here for a second. But what was the disconnect here? Like, why was there such a disconnect from the boxing fan base? Because the boxing fan base has a better base than this, in my opinion, for Showtime. This is below the base level of viewership for Showtime boxing cards. So what was the... Is Charlo turning off the fan base? Like, is there a negative effect that's happening here with the promotion that we aren't seeing that is turning off people? Rob, viewership of Brandon Adams?
What do you normally go with, average or peak?
I like average, but Mike here is using peak, so let's use the peak.
Nielsen Media Research Report Tuesday revealed that a peak audience of 434 tuned in to watch Charlo beat Brandon Adams, with an average audience of 379.
And that was low, I would say, for Charlo. Like we were like kind of ringing the alarm bells then, like, ooh, this is low. But we weren't too concerned. And then a massive drop off to this number. Why?
Like, 379. That's not great. Oh, but it's Adams, it's Brandon Adams.
Yeah.
It's Hogan. Oh,
do around the same.
Yeah, one common denominator. Well, two: Showtime and Charlo. Or maybe I don't know.
Let me ask this question: do you think it's possible a large number of subscribers, boxing fans, drop Showtime because Showtime's not really in boxing too much anymore?
Could be.
I mean, you know what? Anecdotally, so I mean, there's no statistics here, but like I've had a lot of friends in this community say that they've dropped Showtime.
Don't bail Gary out. He's trying to save his boy here.
Realistically, there's got to be a reason why it would be this bad, Rob.
No.
I'm just trolling. It's just you're doing a lot of treading water, trying to save your man.
It's not even saving the man. I think this is a shot at Showtime. We can angle it that way, Rob, which I know you do.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I think Showtime has completely dropped the ball for their customers, their boxing customers this year. They haven't really produced anything of note. Even their biggest card, which was Wilder Brazil, was Wilder Brazil. Like, that was a fight that we all knew wasn't going to be competitive.
Oh, what was it recently? Tank's fighting in Atlanta. They're making this whole big, like, whoa, Ellaby's out there telling you he's coming to Atlanta, blah, 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 blah. And then there were quotes from the press conference coming up on my feed. I'm like, wait, there was a press conference today?
They didn't stream it.
No live stream on YouTube from Showtime. Nothing.
No, I do know. Like,
this happened. Did
I do know that event's selling well, but you're right. I mean, overall, Showtime seems to have last year, at the very end of last year, they re-upped their PBC deal, re-upped their boxing budget, and went from like 20, 30 million to 60 million in budget for a year. And then the year where they had that budget this year, they've produced the worst schedule, arguably, of the entire year. Like, even ESPN's schedule, which we have shit on all the time.
Is there viewership for Navarrete? That was on the same night, right?
Was that Plus? I think it was the Plus.
Oh, was it?
I think it was the Plus.
Were people tuned into that over Charlo?
I know there was a UFC event on ESPN at the same time.
Oh, that did good, right?
That did like 1 million something, just over 1 million in terms of peak.
Good.
But digressing from that, I think there's something to that point. Gary is right that there does seem to be a drop off in customers for Showtime boxing. Is it enough for this? I don't know. Maybe people had their fill of boxing with AJ Ruiz and were good, like the casuals. You know, that extra 200,000, 300,000 people that watch one fight a weekend, maybe. Not everything. They don't watch every card, right? They watch one fight a weekend. They pick the one they watch. Maybe they picked Ruiz Joshua and they were good. But I don't know. This seems like there's issues here that they need to address. That if they're not, if Showtime is not right now, if Espinosa is not going into his analytics department and saying what happened here, if he's not going into his marketing department and say, hey, what happened here? What was the disconnect? Then I don't. The clock on Showtime is close, man. Like, we're in the 11th hour of Showtime being in existence.
Kind of close anyway. Like with HBO, it just went like that. But like, don't you think Showtime is the signs are to sell that stock or all there?
I mean, I probably need, in terms of boxing, yes, of course.
Right, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Showtime boxing. If I said Showtime boxing, buy, sell, or hold, what would you say?
Sell it.
Short the hell out of that. Yeah, that's a.
I mean, get rid of that shit as fast as possible because it's not right now. It's a lost leader, but it's not even a lost leader. You know, like Mayweather was a lost leader for Showtime. He was. There's nothing there on Showtime's schedule right now. Not Gervonta Davis, not Charlo, not the one Wilder fight that's going to, I think, really produce the content that Showtime fans, because there are fans of Showtime, their production, like me. Like, I love Showtime as a production, as an event for boxing. I think they do it the best, but they obviously don't care anymore. So why would I care as a consumer or a customer? They
On a positive note, can Fox just hire Showtime's broadcast crew?
I mean, we thought that with HBO, but look at all those guys. They haven't bounced back.
Do you think they're still under contract?
Yes, I think there's something there. I think in today's age of capitalism and contracts, yes. I 100% think there's some sort of clause there and waiting period for these guys. Absolutely.
Like they would want to buy themselves out of it, right? Like if I said, okay, Jim, I'll give you 60% of your contract payout right now, and you can go do what you want. Jim could take that and then go sign and do other stuff. To be paying Jim to not be doing anything, I mean, I mean, he can't be cheap, right?
I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
I mean, Max got the job with ESPN really quick, so he left. He was double dipping early. Jim seemed blindsided by HBO leaving, and Roy Jones is promoting now. I think with Showtime, you have Paulie, who's getting enough work on the side, sort of like Max Kellerman. He's working with Sky. He's working with other things, so he does other work.
Didn't Wilder get Paulie booted off the show?
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man.
Bernstein seems like a lampy. Like, he's just not going to move. He's a company man. It is what it is, man. Like, I'm sorry, Showtime is dead. I'm not one to say that, but I mean, their good fights are the best fight they have in the last 13, 15 months, other than obviously Wilder Fury, the pay-per-view, is going to be Gervonta Davis versus Gamboa. Like, that's legitimately the best matchup they've had. Maybe Easter Bartholomew is a better matchup, even though that fight sucked. But just in terms of a matchup,
looking at it now, it's a shame they didn't do the rematch. See what the numbers would have done for that.
Yeah, that's right. They've had nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Terrible year for Showtime. But moving on, because
just to make it clear, not many people went to watch the fight, right, Gary? And not many watched it on TV either.
I mean, they didn't seem. I didn't see the attendance numbers. They had the top bowl cut off, like closed off, and then I saw a lot of open seats in the main bowl. So I mean, I can't see it. 7, 8, maybe. Would that? I mean,
yeah, it was a dud. We're going to cover one more topic, and for the sake of time, we're going to go to callers. So 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. I may run down these other topics, but we have a lot of them, and we don't have time for that. Apologies to Gary for being late to the show. Moving on, though. Dylan White, his ban is lifted, guys, from the WBC. Yay! Yay. But, I mean, the British Boxing Board of Control petitioned for Fury to be the mandatory, not White, so that's going to stay. Pretty much the situation doesn't change at all, except that he keeps his interim belt, right? Which was potentially not his anymore. That's the only material thing that happened here, right, Rob?
It's I don't know. If I was White, I'd throw that shit in the bin now. He's paid God knows how much in sanctioning fees before the
all fighters do, man. So.
Before the issue with UCAD and whatever. It was like the world famous 600 days, 650 days as number one. Now he's got to wait till 2021, despite being cleared of any wrongdoing, whether people want to believe that or whatever, or whatever their take is on the whole situation. But he was suspended because of the issue. Like quickly, the WBC took a stance on it and said, right, while he's under investigation, this is the situation. Now, until we hear from UCAD, well, we've heard from UCAD, and it's like, oh yeah, you're still the interim champion, but basically, there's more money in a Fury fight, so we'll make that mandatory, and you're not going to get in the way. I don't know. Just if you still got your sanctioning fee receipts, I'd take them in and ask for your money back and throw that interim bout in the bin. That's just, it's just not right.
Gary.
To be number one for years and whatever, and then not get your shot still, it's a joke.
Gary, thoughts? Oh, sorry, muted you. You're good.
Okay. I kind of agree with Rob. I have a couple thoughts on this. I kind of agree with Rob. He should throw the belt in the trash, right? He's paying all these sanctioning fees, right? And all fighters do, but he's never going to get a shot, right? Like, we're talking about 2021 now,
or at least like the sanctioning body is not going to be the system in which he gets the shot against Wilder. If that fight happens, it's just because the fight happened. You know what I mean? Like,
which is not happening anytime soon.
WBC is not going to be the catalyst to force that fight to happen. It never will be. Never has been. It's like all fights, it seems the sanctioning bodies don't really force anything unless they want to force shit fights. The good fights, they don't want to force, so that they just leave their hands off.
The reason why he pays the sanctions fee to have that interim belt is because it's supposed to, in theory, get him the Wilder fight, which it hasn't. So throw it in the trash, stop paying the sanctioning fees, and say, hey, Eddie, it's about time you make the Joshua fight. He'd rather have the Joshua fight anyway. I would imagine it's a bigger payday for him. So enough with the shenanigans here. The WBC has screwed me. I'm not giving them another dime. Eddie, make the Joshua fight next.
He was offered the Joshua fight, though, to be fair. When he was in there via the WBO, right? He
had to take it for free, but yeah.
But he just didn't like the rematch clause that Joshua gets in there, where Joshua still gets the lion's share, even in defeat.
Of course.
A-side contract, right?
A-side contract. I think Dylan White, as Gary said, should be focused towards an AJ anyways, because A, that fight makes more sense. B, it's more of a money fight for Dylan White in my mind. It's a big UK fight. It's a big rematch. I think if he wins that, he gets 3 belts too. Like, I don't see, even if I'm Dylan White, why would I even want to pay the sanctioning fee for a belt that they don't seem to really want to help me in any way. And on top of that, it's a fight that is hard to make, a fight that is going to make me less, get me less than the AJ fight. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm in agreement with both you guys, to be honest. I don't see any sort of disagreement here. My mindset is like this is nothing new, and this isn't a Dylan White isolated incident. Like sanctioning bodies not being fighter friendly. Oh darn, guys! Like welcome to boxing. Like yes, the sanctioning bodies are one of the main entities that are oppressive towards fighters, that restrict fighters. Absolutely. I feel like that's been a known fact for some time. You know what I mean? Like
check. Well, if you want to get a grip of how the sanctioning bodies work, I'll just send something to the chat.
Well, even look at the statement that they had on AJ winning the WBC.
Oh no, right?
You know, it was oh god. God, bullshit.
Mauricio tagging in the president.
Rich people like to be rich, and they don't like to help others be rich usually. That's just how it is. And if there's a system where they make money off of other people's work, and those other people don't make the same amount of money that they make off of their work, they're going to keep that system intact for as long as possible. Unless you have some sort of force with some sort of monopoly power, aka a government, come in and break that up. That's what would happen. So until we have any sort of government intervention, sanctioned bodies are going to rip off fighters till the day we die, and then after that, and after that, and after that. It sucks. But Dylan White, there is a way to make bank. There's a way to collect belts and to just tell the WBC, fuck off. That's to fight AJ. And plus, it's a fight that I legitimately want to see. So I'm 100% okay with Wilder Fury 2 figuring out their bullshit while AJ rematches Dylan White. I am 100% in favor of that. And also, a Dylan White fight for AJ is a fight that I want more than Usyk right now or Pulev. Just being honest. For AJ. Guys, any other thoughts on...
I wanted to add to that and about breaking it up. A fighter union would go a long way in negotiating better contracts and better splits. You know, where if I'm the interim, within 12 months or a certain X amount of days, I have to get a title shot or I can sue you for X amount of dollars, right? Something like that, because all the power right now lie with the organization, with the sanctioning body, right? And because there's no unity amongst fighters, you know what I'm saying? So a fighter union to negotiate better contracts. Every other sport, I don't know if UFC does, but every other sport has unions for this reason. Like
the UFC doesn't.
It does?
No, it does not.
Okay. I'm a fighter. Like, I'm not a contract negotiator. Someone else deal with them and I'll do the fighting.
And I will remind people, Gary, because I know you don't know this, but I'll send you the link to the video I talked about this, but MMA fighters in the UFC get a wage share from the corporation, from the UFC, from Zuffa, of 20% on average. So the entire stable fighters as a whole make 20% of the revenue. In boxing, they make around 60 to 70%. If you're looking at complete stable. So like Golden Boy stable makes around 70% of all the revenue. Matchrooms, Lou DiBellas, whoever, they make around 70% of the revenue. So like boxing is better off than MMA, and even boxing has significant issues.
20%, you said. I mean, that's real low. In other sports like basketball and football had lockouts until they got, or strikes or lock until they were at 51, meaning they got the line 20. I don't know how you're the one putting in all the work and you get less than half. Like if I was the UFC guys, I would. I mean, again, I don't know what you can do, right? If you don't have a union, then it's a couple of guys are like, you know.
And on top of that, you're not employees.
Right.
So, like, for those that don't understand, to become a union, you first have to be employees. If you're not employees, you have to become employees. So, like, there's multiple steps to get a union for fighters because fighters are not employees. They're independent contractors. So they have to then go to the National Labor Relations Board, get their status changed from independent contractors to employees. They have to go to the government and have that enacted. And then after that, go back to the National Labor Relations Board and ask to be a union. and to be their union to be accepted. And that is an entire process in of itself. It took the NBA 10 years to have their union recognized. NBA players, both from the corporation and the government. Like this process takes a long time, even in more of a monopolized scenario like the NBA was back then. Byron saying, Matt, you sound like a Wilder protector. Cool, man. Fuck off.
Where did it come from? Wilder's name wasn't even mentioned.
I don't know.
I got you. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know how me saying that Dylan White can't get a fight because the WBC is ripping him off is me being a Wilder protector at all. And me telling Dylan White to go get the AJ fight is me saying I'm protecting Wilder. Like, I don't get that. UK fans are weird sometimes. But digressing.
Pot kettle. I mean, fans are weird sometimes.
Absolutely. I didn't say we weren't.
No.
We're worried about different things.
Balance, defending my brothers.
You're defending Byron here?
Why not? Anyone who says whatever they want is fine.
No, you can't do that. You can't say whatever you want.
He's still happy that 2021 it's happening. It's supposed to be happening. So he's like, yeah, but you want him to go and fight Joshua. Maybe he feels like that.
But that doesn't change the 2021 time.
No, I know, but
I know. People are weird. Last aspect of Dylan White. Dylan White wants to face Alexander Povetkin next. Sky Sports seems to be pushing it for March. Do we think this happens next for your man's Dylan White here, Rob?
Yeah, I'd like to see the Hunter fight again, to be honest. But yeah, I personally, I just want to see a Dillian White back in shape. Now this is all behind him. Get back in shape, positive vibes, this or everything like that, and let's see get back to sort of where he was pre Rivas sort of fight week or whatever.
Just
when it all
take PDs, just take the steroids. Just take the steroids. It's okay. We don't care anymore, man. And obviously UCAD doesn't care anymore. Just take the steroids. And it's Povetkin. Both of you guys take the steroids, please. Like, come on. Better fight.
No testing. It's 2 juice heads. Whatever.
Who cares?
Get this to yourself.
I am curious if this is just a confirmation that obviously the Hunter rematch doesn't happen for Hunter Povetkin, which is sad. It feels like that was Michael Hunter's moment to like make himself into the top 10 because he is the type of fighter that doesn't get a promotional push. Let's just be honest about it. He's usually that type of fighter is not the guy that gets a network or promotional push. But digressing from that. This is definitely a confirmation that AJ is not fighting Dylan White next, and fighting probably is mandatory. Probably Pulev. To me, if I'm going to really make an argument, I think that's going to happen next. Guys?
Yep.
I'm going to say Usyk.
No.
IBS is going to.
The WBO said it had to be made within 180 days, unless you think he's going to give up.
I think
6 months.
I think he's going to give up the belt. You're going to get Usyk Chisora for the vacant belt. And then
Parker still within the Matchroom stable.
And then you can sell AJ and Usyk as a unification.
But if you're AJ, that's my belt. I earned that. I had to beat Joseph Parker for that, and I had to win it back. I want that belt. Like
the only thing that belt means is that he has to pay more money to somebody. I think AJ is smart enough that he needs to get those belts back, obviously from Andy Ruiz because of the loss. But if those belts, let's say, all of a sudden were like stripped of Andy Ruiz for some stupid reason, I still think AJ would go after Andy Ruiz in a rematch, right? I think for this sort of similar case, now he's in a position of control again. He doesn't need the belts anymore, right? He doesn't need that sort of positioning, so to speak. So he can let one go fight Pulev and defend that one, making money, and then work in concert with his promoter to help out the rest of the stable to angle for another fight down the line in 2020 in November or December. So I think
you think the fight path for Joshua next year would be Pulev
and then the winner of Usyk Chisora, and then 2021 probably be the first quarter Dylan White.
So Wilder's not even in the purview.
No, and like
Wilder's busy all next year.
That's why totally off topic in a way, but not really. But like when Robin, you sent the thing about like AJ talking shit to Deontay, I'm like, I don't care about this. Like both guys are so on a path that's not even close to each other. And on top of that, they're fighting good fights too. So like, I can't even be mad about it. Like, AJ fighting Pulev and Usyk are still good fights against top 10 competition. Wilder Fury too. Obviously, I can't hate on that fight. It's a great heavyweight matchup. And if they go for the trilogy, then Wilder's obviously tied up for all of 2020.
Yep.
Right? And then obviously you even have like Ruiz and Renaki in the lineup for Wilder too. And those are all great fights for Wilder. So because of that, I am kind of content with both of these guys having their own fiefdoms, their own realms of control, and at least fighting great opposition. If they were fighting bad opposition, like let's say Terrence Crawford is, then that's when I get on my high horse of going, no, you guys need to work together. Start making the big fights. Because now great fighters are fighting not great fighters. And that's the issue. While Pulev is what the worst opponent AJ's probably going to fight in the next 12, 18 months, that's not a bad opponent. It might not be the most entertaining fight, but that's not a bad opponent. I have to be objective here.
And you also said that he was going to beat Usyk and then fight Dillian White in 2021. We know that Usyk was going to win that fight. So do you think AJ would be interested in a rematch in 2021? Or do you think we would just move on?
If in your sick world where Usyk somehow wins, then yes. I do believe we get an AJ Usyk rematch in 2021, but I don't think that happens.
Usyk would win all the rounds, 118, 110.
That's not...
God, Gary.
That was great, Gary.
You've obviously been watching boxing all your life. It's the only sport you watch, right?
The shade there is great. Let's go to callers, guys.
Well, very quick, Gary. So obviously the theory is to vacate the WBO. It's still within Matchroom. If he vacates the IBF, I believe it's then Pulev and Kalnaki to fight for that the IBF belt. So obviously that's then a belt that's outside of the the Matchroom reach kind of thing.
I don't know how they take precedence or how that all works, but I know that WBO called it that they get 80 days.
But Pulev has put there's been like some legal case about making sure he is next or something like that, right?
And Eddie would make him do that first because that belt, I need that belt. If the WBO, the belt stays with me either way.
Yeah.
So and then I have that fight, and then I have you fight for your belt back.
Here's what we're going to do, because I do want to actually run through these topics very fast and go to callers, okay? So I'm going to present a topic, give like a one-sentence thought on it, and I want each of you, Rob and Gary, Rob first, then Gary each time, just to make it easy, to give like a one-sentence thought on this, okay? Is that fine? Inoue is... Robbie, you didn't say no or yes, so I didn't know.
A one-sentence answer of, yes, that is fine, Matthew.
Thank you. Inoue versus Dasa Marinis, mandatory title fight ordered by the IBF. Are we going to see Inoue fight some guy from the Philippines? Probably. Guys, thoughts?
America. Brilliant. Bring him over to America. What a fucking joke. Leave him in fucking Japan where it's going to be a huge fight.
Gary, thoughts? Inoue?
Yes, we'll see it, and I agree that they should do it in Japan, but they'll do it in America.
You're going to do it in like the Cosmopolitan too. It's going to be great. It's going to be so good. Steve Kim saying, so Eddie told me that we're pretty much finalized with the DAZN while we're in Saudi Arabia. Their June 30th show in Miami. Estrada, Cal Yaffe, which is now canceled. Daniel Roman, Murjadeen Akhmadov, Demetrius Andrade, and a Jake Paul fight. These are my thoughts on this. Guys.
Very quick. Also, Liam Smith is on that card, and Josh Kelly is going to be on that card. The Matchroom have put out as tweets making their return.
I thought they're going to be on the Jacob Chavez card.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right.
You're mixing up cards, I think. You're
mixing up cards, but yeah, shame about Estrada. He's hurt his hand again, right?
Yeah, Estrada hurt his hand. Really unfortunate. And also,
which means Maloney will now have to face, Yafai will have to face his mandatory, because this was kind of a get out of your mandatory by facing Estrada.
So we don't get Estrada Yaffe. We're going to get Yaffe Maloney, and Estrada's out with a hand injury. Gary, quick thoughts?
My thought on that is I'm not going to think about that card at all.
Yeah. I agree. We get Andrade Luke Keeler as like the big fight there. Also, Farmer and Diaz clash, unlikely for that pre-Super Bowl show in Miami, as the tweet said, and Jake Donovan is reporting. It is looking really unlikely this fight happens. Diaz and his side are reporting that they're finalized. They're all good with the contracts. It definitely is Farmer's side, either within the contract renegotiation with Matchroom or within this fight contract itself, that there seems to be some issues. So look for that fight to just be canned outright.
Oh, I thought someone said that they confirmed that both sides have agreed, and then it's going to be like February.
When was that?
I can't remember. But
I saw something else for February, which we're going to get into, but I did not see anything for that. So if you can send me that, awesome. But the thing I saw was this fight was kind of dead in the water at this point, to be honest. Thoughts on Farmer Diaz potentially having massive negotiation issues and not happening? Does it mean Farmer leaves Matchroom in DAZN?
Not necessarily. They may have something else for him. I don't know.
All right. Rob doesn't care. I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Not.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, good fight, but I wasn't like hyped.
Yeah, it was one that definitely doesn't seem to be as big as they think. Steve Kim reporting as well. Look for Ryan Garcia and Jorge Linares to co-headline a card in February, hearing the 18th or 14th in the LA area. And yes, they're setting up this collision course for later in 2020. So guys, what do you think about Ryan Garcia and Jorge Linares potentially fighting later in 2020 after fighting together on the card? I think this is a good fight.
I wanted Linares for my boy, but Tanahar. But
Luke Campbell seems to have the impression that he's going to be fighting Linares in the next year as well.
But I'll say this. We saw that report a while ago. Ryan Garcia and Linares is an truly in-house fight. That's both Golden Boy names. That might be why that fight's easier to make than a Luke Campbell matchup, which is going to be a co-promoted fight. Even though it's within the DAZN umbrella and within that house, it's not within the promotional house, so to speak.
I get you. Yeah, I think as much as Ryan may be on the upward curve, I don't know. Linares is still dangerous, in my opinion. If it's at 135, if Linares can do it. But
Jason Cruz reporting from MMA Payout and Bloody Elbows. An interesting move here in the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. case. The preliminary injunction hearing is set for tomorrow, but on Monday, Nevada Athletic Commission filed notice of removal to federal court. And in Jason's words, moving the case to federal court presumably endangers the chance of Chavez's fight against Jacobs from happening on December 20th. And in very layman's term, I would describe it as this. This case is being asked to be moved from state court to federal court. And because of that, it's going to a higher level of court that it seems like it's less likely that it's just going to be, hey, no big issue. You guys are fine. And I'll be honest, when talking about the secondary hearing we're going to have for Chavez's temporary suspension 2 days before the fight, the fact that Chavez is now suing the Nevada State Athletic Commission, don't expect them to go light on him at all. So expect both him to get suspended significantly by Nevada in just a week or so, and on top of that, for this case to be tried in federal court, which is going to be really interesting. Guys, quick thoughts on Chavez and his case potentially moving to federal court, and just the shenanigans of this fight.
It's a good thing he's already training for Rosado's already training for Jacobs, and Jacobs is already training for Rosado.
Very good thing.
My thoughts are, Matt, if you check, I just highlighted it. If you later want to look at the whole court document regarding this.
Oh, you know me.
Feel free to look over the 42-page filing here.
I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna geek out so much tonight.
For sure, I thought you'd like that. But also,
get an edible and just read the whole court document.
Don't worry. All the 200 tickets are nearly sold. There's a limited supply of 40s and 60s.
Wait, 200 tickets or 2,000?
No, the $200 tickets.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said there's only 200 tickets sold. I'm like, what?
No. Are you kidding? In where is it? Where's the fight?
Arizona,
yeah. One of the highest. Gary's just mouthing with no. You going, Gary? No.
Okay, we're gonna go to callers.
Shouting at his children.
We're gonna go to callers actually in a minute. I just want the blog talk thing to stop because it has this the loud lady is going to be talking right now. So callers, stay there for just a minute and a half. Don't worry. We're going to go right to you. Let's go to this. I think I have one more topic that we can talk about. Yes, this one's going to be great. Guys, he's back. Sergio Martinez is back, and he wants Billy Joe Saunders. Guys, thoughts on this?
I thought you were going to go with the Logan Paul's unsuccessful appeal.
No, I wasn't going to go with. I'm not going to give that any shine.
It was a toss-up between this one and that one. Oh my god!
But thoughts on a Billy Joe Saunders Sergio Martinez fight in 2020?
Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
I was a big Sergio Martinez fan when he was having his run. Things that aren't going to happen in 2020. That.
By the way, poor David Lemieux losing to Billy Joe. Oh my god, Billy Joe clowns that guy to this day. Because Lemieux, I don't know if you know, but fought. He had a close fight. Apparently knocked down 2 times. Was it last weekend? He fought somewhere in Canada, I think.
Oh, Lemieux, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about the fight. Was it a tough one?
Yeah, he got a split decision win over whoever he was fighting, but he got knocked down a couple of times, knocked the other guy down, I think. But it sounds like a good fight, to be honest. But yeah, Billy Joe, then someone put a video of it, or Lemieux did, and he said, poor guy, not been the same since I fought him. And stuff. But every day seems to be Billy Joe still firing shots at Lemieux. But
Poor guy. I was so high on Lemieux. I feel so. That was my Terry Flanagan moment. Let's go out to callers now. We have a troll caller, guys. You ready for this?
Yeah.
We have a 111-111-1111 caller.
Oh, that's easy to remember.
If it's the same guy that's going to spout off some slur and then just hang up, I mean, come on, be more original, please. Come on. Or at least play into the bit a little bit, let's have a call. Caller, who is this? Where are you calling from? Oh, no, it's the kid. No,
it's not.
No, it's the kid. He was in the chat the other day. I heard him. That's the kid.
How you doing, man?
No, go do your homework. Get off YouTube. Let's go out to Santiago. This channel is not meant for kids. We have a strict policy now because of YouTube. It's not meant for kids. Sorry. Let's go to Santiago in LA.
Oh,
sorry. I thought it was gonna be like a fun troll caller, not just.
Thinking back.
Man, the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
I thought we were going to have him twice.
No.
Santi, how you doing, man?
He's not allowed to call in.
Santiago, long time no speak.
I guess for you, sure. I hope you got your list ready, Gary, because I'm prepared for that top 20 show once Matt has a date set.
Okay.
I'm going to run through this quickly because I have to get going too, and you guys have been on for I want to say almost 2 hours now. Yes. So Crawford, Kavaliauskas. Crawford is going to do what he does, get him out of there. If he doesn't get him out of there in under 4 rounds, then I don't even care to DVR his fights and watch them when I get back home. I'll just catch that thing on the replay at that point. Chavez Jr. and the Nevada State Athletic Commission, man, Court TV would love to get the rights on that right there.
I would love to get the rights of that shit. You have no idea. I would sell off Rob if it meant I could get the rights of the Chavez hearing. Rob, I love you.
Cut me in.
The sanctioning bodies, their shit. I'm with you guys. At this point, people need to start putting a Riddick law on that because of the quote-unquote recognized titles are not going to really do anything for anybody. Why on earth would the quote-unquote interim titles mean anything at that point either? Get on with it. We all know at this point who the top fighters are in each division just based on either accomplishment, recognition, whatever. The titles are just exaggerated accessories at this point. And as for Miami, the only thing I have to say about Miami is they must really, really, really miss the days when Alexis Arguello was still fighting.
Was Miami a fight town? When I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
Paul Pryor was in Miami, the Orange Bowl. Yes, it was. Good job, Santiago.
Huh.
The first one, not the second.
Yeah,
one.
man. the first one sold out the Orange Bowl, and I'm sure Gary knows too who the team was back then too.
That played in the Orange Bowl?
Yeah, man, Miami.
Miami, yeah, okay. I thought, the year of the Hurricanes. That was in the 80s.
Damn. What? So like Miami used to be a hotbed of fights for like Aguero fights, and then all of a sudden just dried up because he stopped fighting. Like he.
I don't know if they had other fights.
The second prior fight was Arguello's last fight, and that was all she wrote at that point for Miami as a fight town.
Who was the promoter of Arguello?
I think it actually might have been Top Rank. I'd have to dig a little bit deeper into that one, but I think it might have been Top Rank.
Top Rank has a knack for like getting boxers from certain ethnic demographics, and they're just superstars. And then thinking that they can just replicate that with any other person from that demographic, a la Puerto Rican fighters. I'm gonna do some digging on like Miami boxing history now. I'm really curious, like, what was the fuck? Hey, you know me, Rob. I get nerded out by some shit, like finding out why that market was a hotbed at one point and why it dried up. Like anytime I see a expose on like why Atlantic City is no longer a fight town, no longer a sports town, I love those articles. There's something really interesting about that. I'm gonna go check. I'm gonna go do some research now, Gary and Santiago. You guys have made me think about this. But anyways, back to you.
I'm glad I inspire you.
Yeah, man. But you guys have pretty much said everything else that needs to be said regarding the topics. Again, I don't want to be on too long because you guys have other things to do. For Rob, it's like hella late over there. So if you guys have any questions about any other topics, feel free to shoot. Otherwise, that's my call. Look forward to being on the show with Gary and debating why Larry Holmes isn't number one in the heavyweights and hearing his argument, which is probably going to be the funniest thing we're going to hear on the show. And then him just bashing my entire list.
I'm sure your list, as long as you have Holmes 1, 2, or 3, as long as it's Ali, Lewis, and Holmes in some order, we're fine.
That's not gonna
be Comey Lopez, who do you have? Did you make that prediction? Or
you know what? My gut says that Lopez is probably going to have his Gervonta Davis moment the same way Davis did against Pedraza. I feel Lopez is going to come out on this one. I think this is going to be the one where you are going to be so happy when the verdict is read.
I feel like if Lopez wins, obviously it's good for boxing. You know, he's a good prospect. He's a good star in the making in a way. But Santiago, thank you for the call. Always appreciate it, man. And whenever, I make a list too, we will do that show. I just have to make a list. But I have been thinking about it. I've been making a preliminary list of those top 20 heavyweights. And I got to say, to Gary's point, Larry Holmes has been slowly, steadily going up my list from I think I originally put him at 17. And he's been going up. Now he's at 12 or something like that for me, 10. But digressing, he's slowly moving up the list.
Gary thinks of your heavyweight list as you think of his hip hop list.
No, I want to say Gary's list had just people missing completely.
Nah, he's not going on the list.
That's fucking stupid to say that Jay-Z isn't on the list.
I could have made a list of 100, and Jay-Z was maybe probably not. He's not good.
I don't know how you can say that. Gary, I can literally give you 30, 40, 50 songs of Jay-Z that are amazing.
But Gary, can you give him 11 better heavyweights than Larry Holmes?
You can't give any. You can argue 2, but that's it. He can be no lower than 3.
No, you can absolutely put people above him. It's not
couldn't beat him.
But people did. People did beat him.
Michael Spinks beat him by 2 bogus decisions when in his 49th and 50th fight.
Hey, shit happens, man. Shit happens.
And then he retired for 3 years, and then he came back because they gave him $5 million to fight Mike Tyson.
He's not even on the prestigious list that Michael Buffer put out of undefeated. Was it champions to have beaten everyone they faced?
Yeah, because Holmes fought till he was literally 50. Of course, he didn't beat everyone he fought.
No, but in his championship reign, was he?
at one point until he lost his Spinks.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, if we're just isolating your championship reign, you're always undefeated in your championship reign because we're only isolating.
Oh no, you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. All right, fair enough.
I didn't see Buffer
his championship reign ended, and then he won again the title, which means he's on that list because he defeated a guy that he lost to.
Then Holyfield's on that list too, because Holyfield beat everyone he fought in his championship reign.
Maybe you're not hearing me, but anyway,
I get what you're saying now, Rob. It's a weird way you're saying it. I got to figure out a way to frame that.
But then Holyfield would be on that list.
It's a weird stat to say. Because AJ, like you said, Anyway, it's digressing. It doesn't matter. It's late.
Anyway, AJ's probably on your list somewhere, right, Gary?
Of 20 all time? Mm-hmm. I haven't made it to 20 yet.
He's one of only 4 to win an immediate rematch, including probably 3 that are in your list.
Floyd Patterson is those other guys not going to be on my list either.
Floyd Patterson, Muhammad Ali, and Lennox Lewis.
I think Rob just naming names.
They're the 3 others that have won an immediate rematch at heavyweight.
Is Ingemar Johansson on your list, Rob?
No.
Worst heavyweight champion. Ingemar Johansson or Shane Stavern?
Charles Martin.
Charles Martin.
It's not even close, guys. It is always Charles fucking Martin.
None of those others walk this face.
Charles Martin literally won the fight because the guy was 10 feet away from him and blew out his knee while walking.
Get Santiago back on the phone. Yeah. Charles Martin, Leon Spinks in their primes. Who you got?
That's godlike power.
Leon Spinks, man. I don't even know why you have to have this discussion. We're moving on. Guys, have a great day, great night, great evening, wherever you are in the world listening to the show. Hit the subscribe button, share the show, hit the like button, all that YouTube stuff. Listen on podcast form. Drop that 5-star review on iTunes. If you're listening right now in the live chat, if you're on premium YouTube member, you have an extra $2 of just free super chat money. Just give it to us. It's no big deal. It's free. It's free. But be back probably not tomorrow, probably a Friday show. But definitely check out, obviously, our last show, our review show of AJ Ruiz. Really in-depth show. We broke down everything. And plus, check out even though it's not these two guys, MCR's preview of UFC 245 as it's coming up this weekend. A massive card that is, we didn't really talk about it, but that's going to overshadow the Crawford event. And even though the Crawford event's on regular ESPN and the pay-per-view UFC event is obviously on pay-per-view on ESPN Plus, that's going to get more push.
Even after the Heisman Trophy thing?
Oh, yeah. I think ESPN's going to be pushing the UFC card because they always push UFC content more. But digress from that, check out that show as well. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, on all social media platforms. Rob?
UK Rob, MCR, Instagram and Twitter. I'll leave you with this. People leave a comment regarding this, but we've crossed into midnight here. That's 10 weeks and 2 days until we're supposedly getting Wilder Fury 2. Does it still happen in February 22nd? I'll leave you with that. Catch you on the next one.
Gary.
Remember, you watch Virgil Ortiz this weekend. I think Oscar forgot, so if anyone sees Oscar, let him know that the future of his company is fighting.
He won't be there.
He won't be there. Although it's not far from his home, so if you see him, if he's on the corner looking to score some crack rock, take him to the fight.
Crack rock. The way Gary said that.
From Texas to the world, follow me on all forms of social media at 3D Boxing. God bless.
Have a good one. Bye.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
That's fucking illegal.
It's bullshit.
Too tight?
You disrespect boxing, you piece of shit?
Fuck that shit. Fuck boxing. Fuck boxing. What you gonna do, brother?
You're the only person that says that.